the Nifty, right? The Nifty has seen some massive weight changes over the last 1 year, with the most notable one being a drastic fall in HDFC Bank's weight. But who has filled that space? Anuj, you've done some data crunching for us?
You know, Sonia, I'm a movie buff and I like to relate these things with movies. One of my favorite movies over the last decade has been Bahubali. And, in that it says, Amrendra Bahubali nahi rahe, aapke naye Maharaj hain Mahendra Bahubali. So, whose markets knew Bahubali? Because HDFC Bank, of course, was that big Bahubali. But it's changing a bit now. Now what I'm doing is I'm comparing the data from June 2023. You asked me why I picked June 2023 because the HDFC Bank HDFC merger became applicable from July 2023. So in June 2023, the combined weight of HDFC and HDFC Bank was at 15% and Reliance was a distant second at 10%. And 5% was a big gap. Look at what it is now. And it's not as if Reliance has done something great. Though, to be fair to Reliance, the Jio Financial has moved out, so that also has had an impact. But 11.6% weight for HDFC Bank and 10.2% weight for Reliance. So the distance is now getting narrower. Now, who has filled that space? You would think that it's ICICI Bank, but it's not. ICICI Bank's weight actually 7.74%. has fallen to 7.6%. That's because while ICICI Bank as a stock has not fallen a lot, it's also not risen a lot as well. But these are the stocks which have filled in. Infosys from 5.64% to 6.24%, Larsen & Toubro from 3.54 to 4.33, Bharti Airtel from 2.6 to 3.2, and Tata Motors. And these two really have been the big outperformers. Their weight to start with was quite low, but in absolute terms, they've actually gained quite a bit. Tata Motors from 1.2% has gone up to 1.6%. So what HDFC Bank has lost, actually a lot of other stocks have filled in. Now look at it sector-wise. Banking was 38% last year. It's fallen to 32%. Again, you ask, which are the sectors which have filled in that space? Some to autos from 4.5% to 6%. Some to metals, and in metals, a large part of this is Coal India, which also gets categorized in metals, from 3.5% to 5%. Power, which is essentially NTPC and Power Grid, from 2% to 3%. And telecom, which is essentially just one stock, Bharti Airtel, 2% to 3%. That's been the weight changes. And finally, I'm looking at the index sectors, and within that, what's the price to book value versus average? It will surprise you that IT has actually now become the most expensive once again after the big rally that we have seen, because the numbers have not been supported, but the stocks have rallied. So IT is actually 153% of its own average. Autos, after that big rally, though in autos, the earnings have been supportive, but because the stocks have risen so much that it's still 126% versus average. Banking actually is a sector where you have some valuation comfort. Now it's trading at average valuations. Consumer also has gone up a lot, 142%. Large part of this is because earnings have not kept pace. And chemicals, of course, 41% looks cheap, but let me add here, because it's only one chemical stock which is there on the index, that's UPL. So net, HDFC Bank has lost out, but the market has broadened. That's been the key takeaway.
Okay.